Hello, third year students. The title of this lecture is Crusoe's Slavery and His Attempt to Escape. In the previous lecture, as you know, we talked about Crusoe's third adventure. And we said that Crusoe heads to Africa seeking a new adventure and business. But unfortunately, he becomes a slave, since his ship has been attacked by Turkish pirates. His ship is disabled, his men are wounded, and some of them are killed. Crusoe and some of his men are led to Sallee as slaves. Let us see today whether he will succeed escaping slavery or he will be afraid, frustrated, and he will accept his new life as a slave. Students, would you please open your books on page 16? The last paragraph. Here I mediated nothing but my escape, and what method I might take to effect it, but found no way that had the least probability in it. Nothing presented to make the supposition of it rational, for I had nobody to communicate it to that would embark with me, no fellow slave, no Englishman, Irishman, or Scotsman there but myself, so that for 2 years though I often pleased myself with the imagination, yet I never had the least encouraging prospect of putting it in practice. Here, Crusoe continues his narration related to his life in slavery, telling us that he suffers too much since he would like to get his liberty, but he cannot do it since he cannot escape. It is difficult for him to escape because he cannot find a successful way, and he cannot, of course, put a plan alone without the help of someone. Crusoe needs someone to help him and to trust him. Crusoe seems to trust no one save his countrymen. This is why he finds it impossible for him to do it alone. Therefore, he spends 2 years in slavery waiting for a chance to escape. Students, would you please go to the third paragraph, the third line of page 17, in which Crusoe continues his narration saying, he resolved he would not go fishing anymore. He here refers to Crusoe's master. So Crusoe says that he resolved he would not go fishing anymore without a compass and some provision. So he ordered the carpenter of his ship, who also was an English slave, to build a little stateroom or cabin in the middle of the long boat like that of a barge. 2 years passed. Crusoe seems to forget about his escape, but one day something happens that makes him think of getting his liberty again. His master decides to modify the fishing boat and to make it as a ship. So he orders the carpenter, who seems also to be an English slave, to build the cabin in the middle of the long boat. After that, they supply it with food, drinks, necessary equipment, and even weapons. They start using this boat or this ship in their fishing. Crusoe, who is noble in swimming and fishing, draws his master's attention and makes him depend on him in this matter. This, of course, gives Crusoe a chance to think of escape. Students, have you noticed a contradiction in the narration of Robinson Crusoe here? At the beginning of being in slavery, he narrates things that seem quite different from his narration now. So what is this contradiction, and what leads Crusoe to say things that seem not true? Students, would you please go to page 18, the first paragraph. I got all things ready as he had directed. He here refers to Crusoe's master. and waited the next morning with the boat washed clean, her ancient and pendants out, and everything to accommodate his guests when, by and by, my patron came on board alone, and told me his guests had put off going from some business that fell out, and ordered me with the man and boy, as usual, to go out with the boat and catch them some fish. Crusoe here is telling us that, as usual, every day he should do his daily job, which is preparing the ship for fishing. He should join his master. Crusoe tells here that things for fishing are ready, and his master, who has a plan to sail with his guests, seems to change his mind. Therefore, Crusoe and two other slaves have been ordered to go fishing alone instead of their master. Now the second paragraph of the same page, please. I mean page 18. This moment my former notions of deliverance darted into my thoughts, for now I found I was like to have a little ship at my command, and my master being gone, I prepared to furnish myself not for a fishing business, but for a voyage, though I knew not, neither did I so much as consider whether I should stir, for anywhere to get out of that place was my way. Crusoe here has resolved to get his liberty. He is encouraged by getting the command of the ship or the boat, which is full of provision, such as food, drinks, and other necessary items. This time Crusoe has prepared himself for a voyage, not to escape, of course, not for a fishing trip. He has taken with him the important things he needs in this voyage. He has a great zeal to get his liberty, and no one can prevent him to do it. He knows very well that this might be his only chance to escape, therefore he should struggle to do it. Otherwise he might spend all his time as a slave. Students, let us go to the next paragraph, please. My first contrivance was to make a pretense to speak to this Moor, to get something for our subsistence on board, for I told him we must not presume to eat of our patron's bread. He said that was true, so he brought a large basket of rusk or biscuit and 3 jars of fresh water into the boat, wax to make candles, and some guns and bullets. To deceive the Moor and make him bring more food and other important items, Crusoe tells him it is impolite to use the food of their master, which is on the board. The man says it's true, and he immediately brings a large basket of bread, some jars of water, and he supplies the boat with other necessary materials. Students, would you please go to page 19, the first paragraph. After we had fished some time and caught nothing, for when I had fish on my hook I would not pull them up, that he might not see them. I said to the Moor, he tells the man, this will not do, our master will not be thus served, we must stand further off. Students, as you know, Crusoe, a man and a boy, sail for fishing, using the boat which is supplied with food, drinks, and necessary equipments. Crusoe tries to go away from the shore. Therefore, he intends not to catch the fish on his hook. He does not pull them, because he needs to go deeper in his sailing. He needs to find a chance to escape. He needs to be sure that they are away from the eyes of the Moors, and being away from their eyes means that he can find a chance to escape. Students, we are still discussing the same paragraph in which Crusoe continues his narration saying, I took him by surprise with my arm under his twist and tossed him clear overboard into the sea. He rose immediately, for he swam like a cork, and called to me, begged to be taken in, told me he would go all over the world with me. He swam so strong after the boat that he would have reached me very quickly I presented it at him and told him, "You swim well enough to reach to the shore, and the sea is calm. Make the best of your way to shore, and I will do you no harm. But if you come near the boat, I will shoot you through the head, for I am resolved to have my liberty." Sailing far away from the shore, Crusoe attacks the Moor and throws him into the sea. The man seems to be a good swimmer, since he has succeeded to follow them. He begs Crusoe to help him, saying that he is ready to obey him. But Crusoe, who is resolved to get his liberty, refuses, and he tells him to stop following them. Crusoe promises to let him swim peacefully towards the shore, but if he keeps chasing them, he threatens to shoot him. Now, the next paragraph, please. The same page, page 19. I could have been content to have taken this Moor with me and have drawn the boy, but there was no venturing to trust him. When he was gone, I turned to the boy whom they called Zeri, and said to him, "Zeri, if you will be faithful to me, I'll make you a great man." Crusoe here says that he has refused to take the Moor with him because he cannot trust him. He prefers to take the boy Zeri with him instead of this man. He tells Zeri if he will be sincere and faithful, he will make him a great man and a great sailor. Students, would you please go to page 20, the first paragraph, in which Crusoe continues his narration, saying, "Yet such was the fright I had taken at the Moors, and the dreadful apprehensions I had of falling into their hands, that I would not stop or go on shore or come to an anchor, the wind continuing fair till I had sailed in the manner 5 days, and then the wind shifting to the southward. I concluded also that if any of our vessels were in chase of me, they also would now give over. So I ventured to make to the coast, and came to an anchor in the mouth of a little river. I knew not what or where, neither what latitude, what country, what nations, or what river." Crusoe and his boy Zeri keep sailing, and they do not stop. Crusoe is very afraid of being chased by the men of his master. Therefore, he prefers to go away from the shore and away from the eyes of his master. He does not know where he is going and where he is now. After several days of sailing, they stop in the mouth of a little river, and they try to come close to the shore. Crusoe seems worried because he feels that he is lost. He does not know what country he is in and what is the name of this river. Students, we are still discussing the narration of the same page, page 20, in which Crusoe says, "We came into this creek in the evening, resolving to swim on shore as soon as it was dark and discover the country. But as soon as it was quite dark, we heard such dreadful noises of the barking, roaring, and howling of wild creatures, of we knew not what kinds, that the poor boy was ready to die with fear, and begged of me not to go on shore till day." Here Crusoe says that he and his boy Zeri continue their sailing without coming to an anchor, without a break. They do not stop because they want to avoid being chased by the Moors. By the men of Crusoe's master. At night they come close to the barbarian coast, trying to discover where they are, and trying also to get some drinking water. They are frightened and shocked by the noises of barking, roaring, and howling of wild creatures. Crusoe says that Zeri is very afraid, and he begs him not to go to the shore and to wait till the day. Students, thank you very much for your listening.